It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, today we're going to jump at that gigantic, sharp, interactive board, go through Konica Minolta's first half of FY24, which ends March of 2025. And I just want to say this at the start of the video. More of the same. A continuous journey down a profitless path. Konica Minolta taking their continuous journey down a profitless path. It's unbelievable. It's almost disgusting at so many levels that this company just cannot make money. Year after year after year. They just can't do it. And it's you know, there's something's got to give, right? I mean, folks, I got to tell you, man, you know, you look at Visual Edge, the big mega dealer, you look at Konica Minolta, you're looking at a couple pretty big disasters financially, and it's like, when the hell's this stuff going to get cleaned up? Sooner or later, it's got to get cleaned up. You know, I believe that Fuji will probably clean up Konica Minolta. We'll see where all that goes. But folks, I got to tell you something. Taking this journey down this profitless path is crazy. And it seems like Konica Minolta just always has these excuses. You know, they get rid of a bunch of rank and file people, and I'm pretty convinced they need to probably get rid of the people at the top. I mean, people at the top are saying to themselves, let's get rid of some more rank and file, especially the smart ones that know that we really can't run this company profitably. We'll get some new people in and we'll try to fool them. Folks, when I look at the way they present their numbers, when I look at how they focus on business contribution profit instead of operating profit, it's kind of ridiculous at so many levels. But they are making some decisions over there at Konica Minolta. They decided they would go ahead and get rid of the Ambry Genetics testing. We're out of that business. You know, I put an X there. They're selling that off to a company called Tempest AI. And folks, when I think about this Ambry Genetics, and you know, this has been a weight around Konica's, neck. I mean, they basically, well, let me just say the word. They sucked at this whole thing since they did this deal. And, I should say they sucked profitability. Because I'm going to show you a chart here that shows how it's doing pretty well as far as the testing and the revenue, right? They just can't make any money in it. But folks, what were they thinking when they did this? They got in the boardroom and somebody said, you know, BLI does really good testing. Maybe we should start testing stuff. Because that BLI company, man, they're making all kinds of money. Hell, we pay them all kinds of money for those crazy nonsensical awards they give us. The testing stuff, so we should test. And of course somebody said, well, we can't compete with BLI. And they're like, oh, no. Let's do biogenetic testing. And they're all like, oh, I'd vote for that. What in the hell were they thinking? And obviously they were thinking about some fantasy that they would be able to pull this off, because obviously it just blew up in their face. It's not been a good deal from day one, and now they're getting the hell out of it. But I was looking at this chart that they put in the financial package, and I see this line going up. I'm thinking, well, seems like things are going up. They just don't know how to make any money at it. And realistically, even if things are going up, it's so far past the core competency of Konica Minolta. I mean, at this point, a lot of people are questioning their competency to even run a printer company. And that's their core business. So how in God's name are they going to run a genetic testing company? It's a good decision they got rid of it. But I want to talk about this business contribution profit that Konica Minolta started focusing on. And they started focusing on this in FY 2022. And the reason is because the operating profit was sucking so bad for the company, they decided, well, let's look further above the line and focus on that number. Business contribution profit, defined this way. Original index of the company, the profit subtracted sales cost, SG&A from revenue. And they do that exercise. They say, oh my God, business contribution profit for the first 6 months of this year is a 3.1% ratio. We are killing it. But it's a useless metric, because the net profit for the company is minus 10.7 billion yen, which equals $70 million loss. So this business contribution profit is kind of nutty. It's irrelevant. And then I wanted to find out, well, when the hell did they start talking about this business contribution profit? This irrelevant base thinking. When did they say that the reality-based thinking of focusing on operating profit just doesn't make any sense? Well, I'm thinking it was in that year 2020 when they lost $107.7 million in operating profit. And then the year 2021 when they lost $147.3 million in operating profit. They come into FY 2022 and they think to themselves, hey, look above the operating profit line. We have a business contribution profit of $196.1 million. And then somebody probably said, yeah, but the operating profit is a $628.2 million loss. Like, oh, yeah, don't worry about that. Let's focus on the business contribution profit. Even though it's irrelevant, to where we are as a company, it'll make people feel better. Why else would they have done this? Because it's idiotic. I think Konica Minolta needs to go back to focusing on profitability. We're 6 months into this year. Operating profit loss of $4.5 million. We had a finance income loss of 9.3 billion yen. We had a profit loss before taxes of 10.0 billion yen. That totals 69.4 million loss. What the hell? Ladies and gentlemen, I just think, Konica, they just keep moving stuff around. Like, they need to just come up with a freaking plan and focus on it. And when they're focusing on the plan, they need to focus on profitability, not chasing revenue at all costs. If you look at the digital workplace, and that has that DWDX and the print equipment, total revenue in that group for 6 months is $2 billion. They have a business contribution profit of $126.1 million, but the operating profit's only $43.6 million, 2%. And if you look at their professional print business, revenue is $918 million for the 6 months. We know that's got that marketing services, industrial print, production print. They show a business contribution profit of $42.9 million, but operating profit of $32.4 million, or 4%. But I got to be honest with you, folks. The problem with Konica Minolta in the professional print and the digital workplace, and just the way they do things, in my opinion, I think there's costs that are coming out of these numbers that are dumping into that corporate, etc. I talked about it before, because they just, at the end of the day, they end up with these massive losses. They're projecting for FY 2024 that they're going to do $7.5 billion in revenue, and they're going to have an operating profit loss of negative $91 million. Business contribution profit's going to be $277.2, but who gives a shit? Because when you get to the operating profit, it's a $91 million loss. Corporate, etc. Forecasting a $370 million loss. Company overall, $91 million. And folks, they got to get rid of the Ambry thing, clean up this whole healthcare thing, and they talk about direction change in business, the DWDX. By the way, they liquidated some assets of that DWDX. Remember, they dumped that crazy ERP called Forza. I just got to remind people, you got to remember the hype around Forza, and then never forget the reality around Forza. I hear there's people out in the marketplace basically trying to do the same thing Forza tried to do. It's like absurdity. We want to come into the imaging channel and we're going to replace ECI Automate with a new ERP. Don't look too hard at how we're funding all of this. It's kind of a bunch of stuff we're plotting all together, but we're going to give you a better ERP because ECI doesn't answer the phone. This whole entire thing with Forza was built, in my opinion, on a bunch of nonsense without a real business plan. It was more about beating a competitor because you didn't like the competitor. It wasn't about winning because you have something winnable. That's what it was about. And I hope people remember the hype around Forza and the reality of where it all ended up. Konica Minolta's dumping some IT assets they bought overseas. I'm going to ask the question, when are they going to start dumping the stuff they bought here in the United States and piled up underneath that all-covered umbrella, Forza being one of those products. But I'm thinking we're going to see some more of that as they change the direction, because they got to be profitable, right? If they're going to maintain as a going concern, and, right now they're not really maintaining. They're maintaining as a profitless pit. They talk about this business contribution ratio of 8% or more. I don't give a shit if the business contribution profit is 15%. If your operating profit's -2 or -4%, I mean, I think Konica really has to think about this. They need to start focusing on operating profit. I mean, if they focused on operating profit, maybe they'd actually make some. I did see this in the financial presentation. You know, we heard this thing about Fuji. You know, Fuji's going to do a joint venture with Konica Minolta, and it was around supply chain and procurement. And then it kind of went away. And then I see on their financial presentation, it says Business Technologies, Business Alliance with Fujifilm Business Innovation Corp. And that's a project currently underway. So there's some project underway with Fujifilm Business Innovation. We'll see what that is. But obviously, Konica Minolta as a corporation, they just can't make any money. So they better figure out what they're going to do, right? Big change is coming after FY 2024. I've got a little concerns. We'll have to wait and see how they present the numbers on this. But, you know, right now, before FY 2023, you know, they showed this digital workplace business professional print. We got the numbers for digital workplace and professional print. And now after 2024, we're going to have a group called Business Technologies, and they're going to put digital workplace and professional print in that. The question is, are they just going to lump all those numbers together? So we really won't know where they're growing, where they're not. How is DWDX really doing against office equipment? You know, what's going on with that stupid marketing service business they have, and what's going on with this industrial print that they should have got out of a long time ago because they barely make any money at it, don't really drive any revenue with it. And so I just think it's more of the shell game. You know, let's play hide the numbers kind of thing. Let me just end with this, and I guess this is a question we're all asking. Will Konica end up in the hands of Fuji? I got the Fujifilm camera there and that Konica Minolta. Maybe Fujifilm makes the case, Konica Minolta makes the lens. I mean, something's got to give, right? Ladies and gentlemen, you know, Konica Minolta's got to get off this path, this profitless path. They've got to turn things around, whether that's with the aid of Fujifilm or with the aid of a bankruptcy court, one or the other. Something's got to happen, right? Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.